everybody? Lord Tremendous here, and I got another battle report here for you. This is a 2,000 point battle, Tomb Kings versus Warriors of Chaos. My Wood Elf opponent decided to throw together a Warriors of Chaos Heralds of Darkness list, and it is a solid list. This is a scrap. This is a beat down fight, and it's a really good one. So sit back, relax, and get ready to watch the carnage. Here's my list, and there has been a little bit of changes. I have 877 points of characters, starting with the High Priest, Idameta, still at 460. He's my general. He's on the Bone Dragon, level 4 Wizard Illusion, Lore Familiar, Talisman of Protection, and the Flail of Skulls. I like the Flail of Skulls better than the Serpent Staff. It works better for me. Then, of course, Bernice, my other High Priest, is still in the list at 247 points. She's on her steed, level 4 wizard with necromancy. She's got the warding splint and the ruby ring of ruin. I dropped the scarab brooch just because I needed the points, and I think I can make it work with 12. And then, of course, I've got my mortuary priest baby mage at 170 points. He's my level 2 wizard with elementalism. He's my BSB. He's got the banner of desert winds because reserve move is broken, and he's got the amulet of the serpent because without it, there's really no point in taking him. For my core, I've got 672 points now. I've got 30 skeleton archers for 160 points. They've got the hand weapons and war bows as always, but I added a master of arrows and a standard. I had some extra points left over. I added a skeleton. 30's plenty. And with the unit champion upgrade, if they get into combat, it buys me some time. And with the standard, it gives me +1 combat res. Then, of course, I've got the 10 skeleton horse archers for 120 points. They've got light armor warbows. And I've still got the 8 Ushapti for 392 points because while they still have great bows, I did drop the ancient because I just figured the points could be better spent elsewhere. In special, I'm at 316 points total with 2 Tomb Scorpions with the Terrace Below and Ambushers, as well as 3 Stalkers for 162 points. I wanted to try them more than the Venerable Ushapti. I like the Venerable Ushapti on paper, but in play, they're just too slow. And the Stalkers, I like being able to ambush them. It sucks they don't get Terrace Below, but I wanted to try to gaze, and with Strength 5, AP 1, and the extra attacks from the tail, it just seems like a better unit. Plus, the models are really cool. Of course, I gave them Ambushers. And then in rare choices, I still have my Casket of Souls for 135 points. Alright, so for this opponent, I went up against the Warriors of Chaos list, the Heralds of Darkness subcategory, and it's my Wood Elf opponent, Wrathgar. In his characters, he has 811 points, starting off with his Chaos Lord, Lord Humongous. Yeah, I see what he did there. Pretty good. He comes in at a whopping 475 points. He's his general. He's on a chosen chariot. The chariot is Mark Undivided. The Lord is Mark of Nurgle. He's got the Ogre Blade and 2 Favors of the Gods, as well as Enchanting Aura. And then he has a Sorcerer Lord at 336 points. She's on a Chaos Seed, or he, whichever. Mark Zinch, level 4 wizard with dark magic. He's got the Infernal Puppet, the Biting Blade, Favor of the Gods, and a Spell Familiar. Then for his core, he's got 750 points, starting with a Chaos Chariot, I believe Mark Undivided, 10 Chaos Knights with Mark Zinch, Lance, and full command, 2 units of 5 Chaos Warhounds, butt naked, and 10 Marauder Horsemen. They were Mark Nurgle with shields, flails, throwing axes, and a full command. Last but not least, for his rare choices, because he had no special, was 435 points of, can you guess it? Warpfire Dragon goodness, and this bad boy was a level 2 wizard with battle magic. Oh, I was looking forward to fighting this list because it's a rock solid difficulty list. For this one, here are my spells. Obviously, it got Glittering Robes, Column of Crystals, Spectral Doppelganger, and the Miasma Mirage, whatever. Bernice got Incantation Desert Wind, Unquiet Spirit, Spiritual Vortex, and Spirit Leech. Again, very spiritual. And Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades and Earthen Ramparts. My opponent got on his Sorcerer Lord, he got Soul Eater, Phantasmagoria, Infernal Gateway, Word of Pain, and he took Blue Flame because it's probably one of the best magic missiles in the game. And then on his Warpfire Dragon, he got Oaken Shield and Fireball, I believe. Here's deployment, and as you can see, we kind of went over on the left flank there a lot. On my left flank, I've got Idameta in the corner with my unit of archers right next to him on the hill with Baby Mage installed. Next to them, I have my 10 horse archers with Bernice using them as a screen. I feel like I put my Casket of Souls in a better position. It's right behind them, so it kind of encompasses everyone. There's that 18-inch bubble around them, so that's kind of nice to have. And then in the woods, I've got my 8 Boshati, looking for any targets of opportunity that pop up. Stalkers and Scorpions are in reserve, waiting to be ambushers or terrors below. On my opponent's side, on our left flank there, on the far left there is his Chaos General in the Chosen Chariot. Right next to them is the Undivided Chariot, just a regular core choice. Both units of his Warhounds vanguarded up about 7 inches. On the left side there, behind them is his big brick of Chaos Knights with his Sorcerer installed. The Warpfire Dragon is behind the thing so that my Ushapti can't explode him. His Marauder Horsemen are getting ready to, I don't even know. I'm going to shoot them up. And then the other unit of dogs is right there in the middle. That was it for deployment. Yeah, there's no subtlety. We're running across, well, he's running across the board to beat the crap out of me. Here's top 1 after movement, and I got to go first. Yay! Good magic phase. Glittering Robes went off on Itameta. I got Earthen Ramparts and Incantation of Cursed Blades off on my archers. The Skeleton Horse Archers moved up a little bit, and Bernice was able to get Incantation of Desert Wind off, which was exciting. I completely forgot to cast Light of Protection, so that was awesome. And then my Boshati took aim at, or just kind of stood still because they're going to take aim at the Marauder Horsemen, depending on how well I do against the dogs. Other than that, not a whole lot. I probably should have pulled a Scorpion out and put it behind the impassable terrain like I usually do, but I was thinking I was going to redirect stuff with them, so I held off. That was really stupid. But yeah, that's why we play these games, so we can learn. In the shooting phase, I'm not able to get my, my Ruby Ring of Ruin to work because it gets dispelled, but the archers, the horse archers, shoot at the dogs and are able to kill 2 of them. And then the Boshati fire off and staple 5 of the Marauder Horsemen to the ground, which was just outstanding. They do fail their panic check and fall back in good order, but it's only a few inches, and they die through the knights just barely. So they do stay on the table, and they auto-rally, but oh man, that was close. That was really close. At the end of the shooting phase, I do my reserve moves, and the Boshati just kind of tilt forward a little bit to start shooting down those alleys. The horse archers and Bernice move back to where they were, and the archers back up just a little bit, just to give us a little bit more space to shoot for another round or 2. That's it. That takes us over to bottom of turn 1, and, I mean, Warriors Cast Do what Warriors Cast Do. Dogs came flying up, the dragon came flying up, the marauders came flying up, the knights came up, his chariots with his Chaos Lord and everything like that came up. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect, and it's scary. One thing did happen, though. His caster in the movement phase did cast Arcane Urgency, and Itameta tried to stop it. Unfortunately, he does so by miscasting, and he miscasts 6, which does cause him to take a straight 6 wound, but I failed to wound with it. I think I rolled a 1 or a 2 to wound. So the spell goes off. I don't get hurt at least, but Arcane Urgency is cast. That sucks. Nothing else happens in his turn. I mean, he did get Oak Shield off on his dragon, which I forgot to mention, but that was it. So we go in the top of 2. Kind of a lot happens. Itameta, first and foremost, he summons the Scorpion behind him to use as a battery, and then Bernice summons the Stalkers to get them on the table. I tried to cast Incantation of Desert Wind and Incantation of Cursed Blades, but with that Infernal Puppet, I was rolling really low, obviously, because you got to throw away the highest. His Sorcerer Lord was within 24 inches of everything, so just shut down my magic phase, as you can see. Nothing got off. Very well done by my opponent. Even with the casket giving me a +1, he was just eating me alive. My one good saving grace here is Itameta soaked 2 wounds off the Scorpion and was able to get the Mirage off on his Cast Lord to stop him from charging, which is huge. The whole plan here is to keep them traffic jammed in there while I shoot. I know the dragon's going to get into the Ushapti. not being able to get reserve move off on them really hurt my ability to stand and shoot, so I just moved the stalkers around to take pot shots at the dogs and maybe the marauders, depending on how they do. I'd love for them to get into combat with the marauders. That'd be great. But I'm pretty sure the Ushapti are in a real bad position. The hope was that Bernice could keep the Ushapti up and keep them, in combat with the dragon and hopefully just beat them down through attrition. You'll see how that goes. The horseman archers move up to get a better shot at everything, and that's really it. The stalkers do their inaugural Care Bear stare at the dogs, and I'm able to kill one, which was kind of hilarious. And then they laugh as the dogs flee from them, which actually I can respect, because if I saw one of my buddies get turned to stone right next to me, I'd probably run screaming as well. So I was hoping the Ushapti did hit him 7 times, and they wounded 3, which would have been enough to kill him. His armor save was failed, his ward save was failed, but then he saved 2 on regen, which is totally fine. But if I had just been able to stop Oaken Shield, I would have probably been able to kill him straight out. I mean, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? But it's just one of those things you look back and it's like, if only! Poor Ushapti, they're not going to like what happens next. And then my skeleton archers fire at his knights. They put like 6 or 7 wounds on him, which is super impressive. And they've only got a 3-up save. These aren't the chosen knights or anything. And I'm like, okay, I should get 2, maybe if I'm lucky 3. I got 1. He rolled really well for his saves, and a little part of me died. I'm not going to lie. I'm not really able to do anything else in my turn. So, yeah, the archers just kind of shift around. The horse archers shift around with their reserve move. My archers on the hill stay still, and that's it. We go in the bottom of turn 2, and here it is after movement. I get punched right in the throat hole. His Marauder horsemen charge into my skeleton archers, which I kind of suspected. I stood and shot, but failed to do anything, which really hurt. The dragon obviously went into the Boshati. I did get my spiritual vortex up, just trying to cause those dangerous terrain. And maybe if he flubs real bad and I win combat, it'll be easier for him to break. And hey, maybe I could run him down. Stranger things have happened. His dogs fail to rally and keep on running. His general stays still while the dogs charge into the archers, which was totally expected. His knights stay still, and so does his other chariot. That's it. The only exception to that is during his strategic phase, he was able to get Word of Pain off on the skeletons, making them -1 strength and toughness, and he was able to get Oaken Shield off on his dragon again. Bernice tried to stop it and just rolled like ass, so god damn you, Bernice. The reason my opponent was able to get Word of Pain off is because Bernice miscast, and it was a 5. She only hits herself, and it fails to wound. I roll a 1, but he gets Word of Pain off, no problem. Really frustrating. Come on, Bernice, I need you to do better. We go into combat, and this thing decimates like 4 of my poor Ushapti. They do put a wound back on him, though, and all things considered, that's pretty impressive. In combat with the archers, the dogs, I think, are able to kill 1 or 2, and we're able to kill 3 of them. With Banner, BSB, 2 ranks, and 3 wounds, we win combat kind of spectacularly. I'm very proud of my skeleton archers. I don't have a picture of it. They fall back in good order, and we restrain. In the combat with the Marauder Horsemen, I lose 5 of my guys, regenning 2 wounds. We are able to drop a single guy, but with combat res, they crumble like tissue paper, and I thought Bernice was far enough away with 9 inches, but no, he slams into me no problem, because the dice gods needed me to pay for some sort of injustice. I don't know. So, yeah, I must have forgotten to take a shot of top of turn 3 after movement. I apologize, but I did get Glittering Robes off on Idametagasi. I failed to get the Miasma off. I got Light of Protection off, and I think that was about it. My general did charge his general because I failed to get Miasma off. I took 2 more wounds off the Scorpion after healing him in order to try to get it off, and I rolled so poorly thanks to the Infernal Puppet and just bad luck that it didn't even go off. My opponent didn't even have to roll against it. Just infuriating. So I didn't have a choice. I had to charge in or just take it. Like, I didn't really know what else to do. Maybe I should have charged something else, but you'll see how it goes in a minute. And that's really it. Things are really starting to put me on the back foot, not in a good way. We just go straight into combat. I mean, not entirely true. I did try to shoot and cast stuff, and just nothing was working out for me. He dispelled everything. So we go into combat, and he's at -2 to hit me. Normally, he'd need 2s against Intimate Gacy because I'm only weapon skill 3, and he's weapon skill 566. So normally he'd need 2s, but with Glittering Robes and the Light of Protection, he's at -2. So he needs 4s to hit me, and this psychopath hits me 6 fucking times! I had to take a screenshot because nobody would believe me. 6 hits with the Warhol dice roller. Unheard of, unprecedented. 6 damn hits. I think 5 total wound, so I was able to save all but 2. And one of them did like 2 wounds to me or something like that, and the other one did, no, one of them did 1 wound, and I regen the other, and he got like 2 for the regen combat res. I was able to put a single wound on him because I couldn't get my assailant spell off. Again, it didn't even go off thanks to the Infernal Puppet. I even ate the last wound off the damn Scorpion to try, and I rolled so poorly, he didn't even have to try to roll to stop it. Oh, the dice gods. I want to punch them in their face. So I was able to do like 1 with stomps, I think. And he won combat. I think I took 1 more wound from Crumble, and then I backed up a little bit. He did not pursue either right away or not at all, either way. But we end up back in combat. I know, spoilers. In this combat, the Ushapti, I lose 2 more with 1 more hanging on by a thread. I'm not able to put any wounds left on him. After Crumble and everything like that, we back up 2 inches, and that's where we end up. He takes no damage from dangerous terrain. I didn't think he would. It was just, hey, it's all I've got, you know? Desperate is all I've got. This combat where Bernice is a limp wristed slapfest. He does nothing to me. I do nothing to him. He has a banner. He wins by 1. She's Indomitable 1. She backs up 2 inches, and they pursue. We go to the bottom of turn 3, and I remember to take a screenshot. Outstanding! My opponent doesn't really have to do a whole lot. His dogs maneuver around the archers. I forgot to tell you last round, I did get 1 more of his knights from the archer shooting, and I brought my Tomb Scorpion on the table and moved him up towards his chariot. Towards his knights. His chariot in his turn turned to face the Scorpion, giving me no choice but to charge him. He rallies his dogs in the middle of the table, and that's it. Everything else is in combat. Really, nothing happens in the shooting phase, so we go over into combat, and yeah, Grimace the Dragon over here eats the rest of the Ushapti. I'm not super upset about this. The Ushapti, he made his saves. They did actually put technically 6 wounds on him. He just made 2 of the saves. Nothing for it. And in combat, they held up really well, and I didn't get a chance to use a rise on him because my opponent outplayed me. I don't blame the unit. In fact, considering they survived for 3 rounds against a dragon, I'm really proud of them. My opponent is not a stupid man, and he overruns with his dragon off the table so that my stalkers can't try to Care Bear stare him to death, which is too bad. I'll have to wait a turn to try again. In combat over here, Itamedagacy just gets crunched. I did get my spell off, but it was dispelled easily by his Sorcerer Lord, because, I did put 1 more wound on him, though, before I went back to death, which just eats at my soul. But I didn't feel like I had any other choice. He did get Word of Pain off on Ita, not that it mattered. I needed 6s anyway. But, yeah, that hurt. That hurt a lot. Really not looking good from here. He overran into my archers and made it without any issue whatsoever. Because of course he did. He wasn't that far. It's not a big deal. In Bernice's combat, she's able to kill one of the Marauder Horsemen. She goes into a challenge. She kills the Marauder Horseman champion. She takes a wound for her trouble. He wins by 1 because he's got a banner. I'm Indomitable, and I fall back 2 inches for give ground, and they pursue. I think, almost bump up against the Casket of Souls at this point. Unreal, but I did it again. I forgot to take a damn picture of the board at the top of 4. You're not missing a whole lot. Nothing really moved. Everything's in combat, and maybe that's why I forgot. It was such a quick turn, but yeah, it was also like midnight 30 for me. So I'm gonna blame sleep deprivation and stupidity. In the shooting phase, the only thing that goes off is the Casket of Souls Light of Death, because I failed to get Light of Protection off because he stopped it easily. And I think I kill all but 2 of the Chaos Knights. He failed his leadership check. Yeah, it was very impressive. I kind of like the Casket of Souls at the moment. I don't know how long I'll keep it in the list, but at the moment, that was really, really cool. In combat, Bernice does nothing to the Marauder Horsemen. The Marauder Horsemen do nothing to Bernice. They win by 1 because of a banner. I have Indomitable 1, and I give ground into the Casket of Souls. We stand there and look at each other. My Scorpion did go into the chariot because I had no other choice. I do nothing to it. It does nothing to me. It wins combat by 1. I'm Indomitable 1. I give ground 2 inches, and he chooses not to pursue, and it turns out to be a mistake. He charges me next turn to no real difference. In the combat with this Chaos Lord, my unit champion in the archers steps up, goes, I bet you won't, and the Chaos Lord does. What I realized, too, is a unit champion in an undead unit with regen kind of sucks. I shouldn't have taken a regen check. I only passed 1, which was really just combat res for my opponent. That's on me 100%. But in the end, yeah, obviously he murders the unit champion, and a few more crumble afterwards. The BSB is able to do a little something, and that's really it for combat. We give ground 2 inches, and he pursues. Also, I did take my crumble checks, and I actually passed all of them. And that's what it looks like after all is said and done. We go over to bottom before, and I didn't forget to take this picture. No idea. So we go into this one, and honestly, there's really nothing different. His dragon comes on the table and moves over to do whatever it is going to do. Honestly, I think my opponent was taking pity on me and hoping that my stalkers would explode him so he could blow up out and do a bunch of damage and it'd be cool. But that's really it. His knights come up to just before the hills so that my casket can't target him again, and that's it. Yeah, it's coming down to just cleanup now. In combat, his Chaos Lord has a good old time smashing up a bunch of my skeletons. He does challenge, and Baby Mage refuses and goes to the back. She's going to be useless for the rest of the game anyway, but I figured I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. He does mutilate a whole bunch of archers. I think I get some attacks back, but obviously nothing hurts this guy. Bernice is able to kill 1 more Marauder Horseman. They don't do anything to her. I killed 1. He's got a banner. We're tied. We stand there and look at each other. And then combat against the chariot. I do 1. He does 1. He's got close order. I back up 2 inches, and he pursues. Here's top of 5 after movement, and there isn't any at all. All of my stuff is either in combat or is about to shoot at the dragon, so there's no reason to move. I do take my crumble checks. I think I put 1 on the stalkers, and that's it. I failed to do anything in shooting, so we go into combat, and his lord just goes buck wild. Like, it wasn't even close. Hitting wounds with everything. I think he missed a wound once. I don't have regen anymore. I didn't give them armor. He laughs as he crunches them like dominoes. It was inevitable. In this combat, literally nothing happens. I don't do anything to him. He doesn't do anything to me. He's got a banner. Indomitable 1, I back up against the Casket of Souls, and we're going to be here until they finally kill her. In this combat, I do a wound to him. He does nothing to me. He's got close order. We stand there and look at each other. Honestly, though, this Tomb Scorpion doesn't get enough credit for what he's been doing. My opponent's been putting wounds on him, but with a halberd, so it's -1. So he has a 6-up armor, and he's made like 4 armor saves. So I don't know what's going on, but this Tomb Scorpion's here to stay, or at least he wants to stay. Here we go to bottom of turn 5. I believe his dogs and his dragon charge the casket. His Chaos Lord charges Bernice. The Chaos Knights move up to watch the carnage, and that's really it. We go into combat, and the dragon is able to easily destroy the Casket of Souls. It's not even close. It was just like, yeah, poof. So I put the red ring of doom out there to see what all gets exploded on, and I roll, and it is some of the worst goddamn rolling I've ever seen. Almost everything takes hits, nothing wounds. Nothing wounds.
Hey, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. I was excited to see some damage. I think I got a Marauder Horseman. That's it. Didn't wound anything of mine, didn't wound anything of his. I killed one Marauder Horseman. So it wasn't really an explosion, more of like a fart in the wind. One guy caught a whiff of it and passed out. Oh, so anticlimactic. Combat over here, his general issues a challenge, and Bernice just falls apart with the impact hits. I think he did 7, and 5 wounds went through, 6 wounds went through. It was enough. She only had 2. She gets just destroyed, and honestly, she deserved it. After that combat, because of everything that was happening, we realized we forgot to do restraints for the Casket of Souls and everything like that. The dogs fail their restraint, so they move up and bump into the back of the dragon, who does restrain and turns to look at the stalkers. The Chaos Lord moves forward in order to get closer to the stalkers, and the Marauder Horseman is able to restrain. So yeah, that's where everything is. Combat over here, I do a wound, he does a wound, he's got close order, I give ground 2 inches, he follows up. Here's top of 6, nothing. No movement whatsoever, no casting. I do my crumble checks and pass both of them, and the only thing I plan to do is trying to kill off his dragon, because why not? My shooting does nothing, so we go into combat, and he gets the final wound off on the Scorpion and destroys him. That was a really good fight, though. Here's bottom of turn 6, and his dragon charges into my stalkers. That's really it. The stalkers do the best they can given the circumstances. They do actually put another wound on him, but he eviscerates 2, puts a wound on the 3rd, and just football spikes the 3rd one into the ground, turning it into dust and memories. Oh, painful, but sometimes you got to be on the receiving end, right? Oh, and that's it. That's the end of the game. This was a pretty vicious defeat for Lord Tremendous. I think I got about 3, maybe 400 points off of him total, and that's being really generous, rounding up twice. Just got decimated. Warriors of Chaos did what Warriors of Chaos do. They charged across the table, and I was not able to slow them down enough for it to matter. Oh, man. It was a good game. It was a slugfest, and I forgot how much fun those can be. But man, oh man, I wish I just rolled a little bit better and been just a little bit more skillful.
Oh man, I got beat up. Like seriously, I need an adult. It was a hell of a fight though, I can't complain. You know when you're going to fight against Warriors of Chaos, it's going to be a good beatdown, but man, this one was a scrap. The Ushabti staying in combat for 3+ rounds against the dragon was impressive. I wish I'd been able to put more damage on him or gotten into a range, like backed him up a little bit, but he just shut down my casting completely. He outplayed me. Getting my casting in the combat, like all my casters before I could do anything, stopping me from casting a Rise, stopping me from casting any real spells that would have helped out. Just there was nothing I could do about it. And then, of course, the Infernal Puppet is a game changer for lists like mine. I rely on magic, and when he was shutting me down, I was struggling to get some momentum. Ida failing to wound a Lord hurt my feelings. Like, I even ate a damn Scorpion so that I could try to get my spells off, and his Sorcerer Lord was like, no, I don't think so. Look, I've got a mannequin. Haha. Yeah, just... Oh, that hurts. I am looking forward to the rematch, though. I do enjoy fighting against Warriors of Chaos. So the Tithe is going to be a little light. I mean, nothing changed with the demons, obviously, but for the Warriors of Chaos, I didn't kill either of his characters. In his core, I got like 6 Warhounds, 9 of the Marauders, and 8 Chaos Knights, which actually I'm pretty proud of. That was a badass shot from the Casket of Souls. But all in all, I mean, I was putting a lot of wounds on the Knights with the Archers. He was just making his saves. I mean, 33% failure rate, and he was like, I don't do math. And I was like, yes, sir, I'm sorry. And of course, he had no special, and I didn't kill his dragon, so I got nothing in rare. Woof! The King Hotep might be a little upset with me on the taxes this season. And then, of course, no change against the Wood Elves or Two Kings list, which is, I still like the numbers.
That's it for this one, though. Another battle report is in the history books. As always, though, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. And as always, thanks!